We're so short. My granddaddy was 5'2". My uncle Dwayne was 5'3". I'm 5'6", which when I was a kid, because I was named after my granddaddy, we used to call him Big Doyle and me Little Doyle. About 14, I got a little taller. I said, we're going to have to redecide who's Big Doyle and who's Little Doyle. And they started calling me DJ. But I was like, why in the world are we so short? Especially considering on my mama's side, we're Swedish. You know, the big giants from the Scandinavian countries. Matter of fact, I saw a picture of my great-great-grandpa. Had to be like 6'5". And then I saw the reason we're short. His wife came to hear. Must have some strong genes on her end. You want a story? Hang on a minute. Let me tell you about Bezer Bennett. Now, Bezer was a cowman many years ago. Why they called him Bezer, I'm sure I'll never know. He surely was a character, sort of like Bon Mazel, and something of a legend, like a William Tell. Now, there's another fellow who's important to this story, and that's Bezer's saddle partner, old Porky Corley. The pair worked for Lights Brothers way back in the day when drinking on the job was the cow hunter way. In fact, Bezer could ride into a hammock as sober as a saint and come out the other side drunk as a haint. And this feat was simple, as you can see, because Bezer had a bottle in nearly every tree. They liked their liquor, did he and Porky Corley, which brings to mind a drinking story. Off to Arcadia went this intrepid pair, drinking shine that would curl your hair. They had 'em a time, painted the town, and then headed for the bunkhouse, drunk as Cooter Brown. They was traveling along, feeling no pain, when they had 'em a flat, the motorist's bane. Well, they stumbled out 3 sheets to the wind. They fixed their flat and went on again. They drove and drove. The night wore on. Before they knew it, it was coming on dawn. Well, they looked at each other. They should have been there, back at the bunkhouse instead of nowhere. But they kept driving, passing the Who Hit John, when Porky says to Bezer, "What's going on?" Bezer says, "I don't know. We're way past town." Porky looked out the window. "Dang it, Bezer, you didn't let the jack down." They had driven, sat there all night long. It was just enough of a groove from that tire turning. But they were so drunk they couldn't tell. But the funny thing is, Bezer, he was one of those characters. And when I think it was Tommy Crumb, when he was a boy, because his family worked for Lights and everything, and they come work summers. Every morning in front of the kitchen there, just before breakfast, Tommy would watch Bezer drag a chain back and forth. Back and forth. Did this for about a week, and Tommy couldn't figure out what he was doing, and finally the curiosity got to him, and he couldn't stand anymore. Said, "Bezer, why are you dragging that chain?" "Well, I can't push it, Tommy." He would go a long way for practical joke. Now, Granddaddy worked with him. This was back in the late 60s when Granddaddy was foreman down there at Lights, Brighton.
We're old to think that's funny.
But in any event, Granddaddy told me the story one time about they'd gone, him and Bezer and Porky had gone to Arcadia and seen some movie that had Matador in it. Have no idea what it was about. But they was telling everybody on the crew about it, and a few days later, this cow bowed up in the pen and went to fighting. And Porky said, "Bezer, why don't you grab that feed sack over there and fight her like that fella did on the picture show?" So Bezer grabbed him the feed sack and got off in the pen. The cow kind of cocked her head and looked at him like this and just went, just hauling and bellowing. And he's over there, "Ole, toro, toro, ole." Cow kind of looked up a little bit. She's still just standing there, just looking at him, don't know what's going on. He's just still toro, toro, and directly she launched herself. Now, apparently he was not paying attention in that movie, because instead of stepping over, he did this. That cow T-boned him in the brisket, knocked him rolling across the pins. If he had been hurt, it would have been just tough, because everybody on the outside is dying laughing. Now, the good news is cow didn't really want him that bad, just knocked him down. He got out of the pen and gave us a great story.